Well, my guest for the morning, to my extreme left is Joe Wise. Joe Osewusu is a legal practitioner, but also a member of Parliament for Bekwai, a member of the MPP as well. And which committees do you belong to in Parliament? The next time I will ask you, though.
Constitution and Legal, Roads and Transport, and the Appointments Committee.
Okay. He is here on the show with Adam Mutawakilu. He's a member of Parliament for Damango, and thanks for joining me. He's a member of the NDC as well. Has been a district chief executive of which district?
West Gunja district.
West Gunja district.
Yes.
You seem to be very popular in your area.
Yeah, interact with them frequently. Yeah.
Your primaries are coming out. I think he's finished off with his, so yours are coming. Will it be by popular acclamation?
I cannot.
You cannot tell. All right. By October, you should be. I hope it will be devoid of those controversies.
West Gunja has been one of the most peaceful districts.
Until anything happens.
Yeah, so far it's been
nothing untoward.
Yeah, even MPP, NDC, and all the other parties, we all work together to achieve a common.
Because you are fasting, so were you tucked in bed praying?
I'm a farmer. Okay, so I was in my farm.
You were doing your other core activities. And how did you spend your day, sir?
I spent mostly at home.
Okay.
Mostly trying to get organized for today.
I hear you lawyers, you read a lot.
Often. Now I'm becoming a bit more lazy. I have about 5 different books half read lying about in my bed.
But usually that should be your hobby, right? One of them is.
That's when I was younger. It used to be. I spent most of my quiet times reading in bed. But now I'm a bit lazy.
Okay.
And then the radio people will call you at all times. So
at all times?
All times.
Not even talking about odd times.
All times.
All times. Can you call you at odd times?
Yes.
I know that we do that a lot. And well, while they were relaxing, also looking at other core activities, well, this was ongoing the last 24 hours as labor unions in the country vowed to resist unreasonable, what they call utility and fuel price increments imposed on them. And we had a statement coming from the Trades Union Congress, which has a membership, according to the estimation, over 500,000 workers, observing that managers of Ghana's economy were doing so poor that economic growth had recorded the lowest in the last 10 years they were concerned about. And well, we've gone to the IMF, but fuel prices keep increasing, and there were concerns from the unionized groups that the managers can do a lot more better. Okay, now I'm in a dilemma. I have to go with you. What's your response to what the Trades Union Congress seems to be saying?
Thank you very much, and good morning to our viewers, and more especially the good people of the Damango constituency. Yeah, Trade Union Congress to ensure the protection of its people, and therefore they issue a statement. I've read the statement, and it's the same thing. The government also has a responsibility to do it. So they are in the same train. The government is supposed to make sure that the fuel price increase is not in a manner that will wipe out the real income of Ghanaians, not only workers, Ghanaians in general. And what measures they will put in place to ensure that it is reduced, especially to the ordinary Ghanaian. And as such, the Minister of Transport is working feverishly to bring more public transport that will take care of most of our ordinary Ghanaians and workers, while those with private who has higher income can use their private vehicles. So in respect of those things, the government is working hard. And so far, if you get to Parliament, you see a lot of the long buses, about almost 295 have come, and the more are yet to follow. They are also pursuing the BRTs to ensure that we create a lane to ensure the public transport fast enough, such that we don't need to even use our buses. When you come to real income, they're talking about real income. That does not mean salary, because your salary, there's an inflation component in it. The purchasing power is what we deal with, the real income, what your salary can actually. And government is working around the clock. You know, government faces both internal and external factors. Sometimes it might be beyond their control, but all of it, all at the same time, they ensure to make that the impact is minimized. We know what Greece is going through currently. You can't even withdraw beyond 66 euros. Yes. And to prevent such, there may be certain decisions that the government will take. That might be bitter for now, but it's better for us to take it now than to face what Greece is facing tomorrow. And so government might take certain decisions that might not be comfortable for now. But thank God, the report from the IMS has indicated a positive move, that the government is doing very well in respect of implementing it. And by 2015, we will record a very appreciable growth of the economy. So government is in line with whatever they have to say. But government is more broader. Government look at the whole population of about 25 million. They are concentrating on 500,000. But in all government, it falls within the envelope of government. Yeah.
So it's a good sample size to be looking at, especially 500,000 public sector workers. But it's also because there's a ripple effect about generally the trend by which we're having the effect of the fuel price increment, and more so the energy crisis having a toll on the general economy. Your wise.
First, the comparison with Greece, I find it most in opposite. You know, countries like Greece, they borrowed heavily to build the infrastructure of the country. So if you go there, their infrastructure is built. In our case, we have borrowed heavily, but there's very little to show.
Now we have airports, we have flyways or highways.
And yet we cannot cut the economic lifeline, cocoa, from the rural areas to be shipped. We cannot cut food to eat, and workers take long man hours to reach their workplaces, burning fuel, standing at one place. These are the critical factors that feed into your GDP. And that's where we have failed to invest in efficiently and effectively. But by and large, you see them of 500,000. If that's all there was, probably be, you may be right to say that they and government are different. But each one, employee there or worker there, has about 3 or 4 dependents whose entire livelihood depends on these people. And the economy heavily depends on their purchasing power. My mother used to sell rice. My sister sells rice. If the public sector workers are not paid, rice is not bought. So her economy in the local area is affected. The farmer who brings plantain, maize, other vegetables, it depends on those who are short of monthly income. So the economy also goes around depending on this set of people. The critical thing they're talking about here is, you give me 4 Ghana cedis a day, minimum wage. At the time that we agreed on that, I could exchange that 4 Ghana cedis for about $3. Today, that 4 Ghana cedis cannot buy me $1. So in real terms, I'm stagnating. In fact, I'm retrogressing, because the utilities that I need to be able to survive as a human being, water, electricity, fuel, energy, they are all calculated based on the dollar. Whereas my income is not tagged to the dollar, it's not indexed to the dollar. So while you increase your utilities based on how the the exchange rate performs, my income does not respond to that. So my income is not growing in accordance with that arrangement. So your real income, it's always going down. In that case, I mean, if you read the statement, they made a point which is very critical, that when you go down to the market, the price increases are steeper, sharper than the headlines that the statistical services
tend to indicate.
Yes.
The reports.
Which is actually the fact. Go and buy the size of bread for 5 cedis today, and it defines how much you earn. if that's all, I mean, I'm just using the minimum wage. Many of us here are above the minimum wage. But if you had to spend 5 cedis to buy a loaf of bread and compare with 2 years ago, the loaf of bread I was selling for 2 cedis. See that those that are selling for 5 cedis today are smaller than those that were selling for 2 cedis 2-3 years ago. What it means is that probably the low income earner and per monthly daily wage may not buy 2 loaves of bread. And if you have a family of 3, average size, that's what we said, ideal size, man, wife, 3 children, rent, utilities, you know, and then even those of us who are acclaimed to be in the high income bracket, if today no MP earns $1,000 a month, none, you know, so even those of us who are supposed to be in the high income bracket, we hardly are able to make ends meet. So if you go down the ladder, you understand why there's so much stress on the few people who can afford. Everybody tends to go to them for assistance. But the truth of the matter is what they have put there. The government debt, the public debt, the structure and nature of it, how we accrue the debt, what we have used that for, what benefit it is not giving us. If we had invested the borrowing well, then we should be earning returns on our investments. But unfortunately, I'm a member of the Committee on Roads and Transport. We go on a tour visiting road construction, and each one of us, even me, I'm not a technical person, but I can see clearly this is a wasted investment. 1 million Ghana cedis per kilometer per road, and I tell you, in less than 1 year, all the tar they have put on the
would deface.
Would deface. You pick one, and you see red earth there.
So meaning what?
What is that? We are throwing away our investment.
But we're supposed to be supervising. At the end of the day, it is not government which has borrowed, that's the cause of the issue, but also having supervisory agencies that are supposed to make sure that the money is also judiciously used. It's not the finance minister who's at the end of it.
No, that's the agencies, the ministries, departments, and they are all government appointees, heads of the MDAs.
So they are supposed to make sure that
what we get value for money. Unfortunately, that's not what we see when we go around. Many contractors are underperforming because they also have borrowed. They have put their investments in.
They are not being paid early, and the interest is accruing on whatever they borrowed.
Their businesses.
And so they are trying to just
cut corners, you know. So, I mean, unless we stand firm, cut out the huge corrupt practices that are going a lot. I was just telling my friend here that the cocoa industry, many of them are making huge losses this year. In fact, from information I gathered, PBC is making about $25 million losses. No, mostly because at the rural areas, the farmers are also stealing from them. They take the money, come, oh, here I have 100 bags of cocoa. Because there's competition for the cocoa, one, they didn't meet the target, the 700,000 metric tons. They haven't so far reached even 600,000.
You mean cocoa board?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they're all together.
This real?
Yes, it's real. I think today or so, they'll come to Parliament, they'll give us the real figures. That's the truth.
I'll call you at the close of the day.
That's right. You know, and so the various buying agencies are struggling. The farmers and the purchasing clerks are taking advantage of them. You see the cocoa there from information I picked from a relative who was like 100 bags of cocoa. You've gone to see it, paid for it. I'm going to bring a truck. By the time you come back the next day, the cocoa and the clerk have disappeared. So money that has been borrowed to buy the cocoa.
So we're saying that a lot more money is going down the drain. That's the point.
Yes, and it is because we are allowing too much criminals to go away, both in high places and in low places.
We're not setting the good examples.
One, and we are not implementing the laws we pass. We are not ensuring that when people steal from the state, we patch them, we punish them.
As a deterrent.
Yes.
All right. I know that you wanted to respond to it.
Yeah, I want to just...
But as you respond to it, at the heart of all this is also because, apart from the borrowing, is the subject of how we've not been able to tackle the issue of the energy crisis. And because the economy is performing poorly and the variables are not good, it's affecting the stability of the city and ultimately affecting the rate at which people tend to buy fuel, etc. And so ultimately, issues of transport and other derivatives are affected hugely.
Thank you very much. He indicated that Greece borrowed to invest in projects.
Infrastructure.
Yeah. I think the issue of Greece started when we had the credit crunch in U.S.
For sure.
And there was that wave, shock wave that went through. The banks had problems. So liquidity was a problem, not because they borrow and build infrastructure. No. That is the issue.
But borrowing, they're not that sustainable now. They've gone past.
Yes. And the banks have been closed down.
It's a huge issue. It's at the bane of what he said is at the bane of the crisis.
Is it because they borrow to invest, to build infrastructure? I think infrastructure will have payback. You invest in roads, you improve transportation system, and therefore you get back. You understand my point? But when he said price real, statistical service, is it telling us that the data they collect is not right? They take average. The price here, loaf of bread might be high. You go to my place, it might be low. At the end of the day, it's average that they use. They don't use, let's say, whatever a loaf of bread costs in Accra, then they just input it and use it. They take an average of all prices. If they take the price of maize, they might take from Accra, go to northern region, go to Upper East, go to Upper West, and therefore average it to report, so that it will be to represent the whole nation. The third one is, you realize that, he said, when you go and check a road, the layer is just thin.
The bitumen.
Yeah, the bitumen, or it could be in a
asphalt
or so. The issue is, what then, as performing our oversight responsibility, what did we do? Who didn't do the right thing? Because as
he's pointed out that the head of the ministry or the head of the DA,
yes.
You see,
that's the department or agency.
Yes, that is where you realize that
government appointed.
You see, when you take a whole ministry, like Minister of Road, we have the Ghana Highways Authority. I'm okay. They have a project coordinating unit. They have the consultants. And the consultants are Ghanaians. I'm okay. The Ghana Highways Authority are Ghanaians who are supposed to ensure
them to be patriotic?
Who are supposed to ensure that they do the right thing. How many times will the minister be able to visit all the roads in the course of construction?
And you expect them to be patriotic. At the end of the day,
that is.
It's not because we have a leadership. I'm saying leadership difficulty.
That is where, if the committee for roads and highways, they go and see this, they must be able to bring to book the engineers responsible for the construction of the road, the bills of quantities, and to be able to tell us, just evaluate, to know how much should have gone into the road and how much did go. That is what we have to do as well. You see, yes, the president has admitted we have challenges. And he briefs us every year the progress we have pursued. And as I indicated, IMF came because of the challenges we have. IMF came in, and we are moving in the right direction. It's a matter of patience, and I know by next year, the energy issue will be over. Government is working feverishly.
It will be partially solved?
It will be over, yes, because we have just, tomorrow we're sitting on another emergency power agreement that will bring about 370 megawatts. Soon LNG plant agreement will come. LNG is liquefied natural gas. To ensure that the shortfalls we have from Nigeria can easily...
On what committee are you on in Parliament?
I'm the Vice Chairman for Mines and Energy Committee.
Right. So your committee is responsible for getting updated on all these.
Yes.
So that's why you're giving a daily service. But you have told me on this very platform before that it takes some time for all these agreements that you think you're going to sit on from today?
That is the normal agreement.
Well, it's not. No, I mean from agreement approval to implementation. I'm talking about the project itself.
Yeah,
it takes some time. It's not 4 quarters. It's not even a 4 quarter period.
That is what
it takes
I'm
more
saying.
Than almost like 8 quarters, so to speak.
What I'm saying is that if you have a normal agreement, it takes about 3 to 5 years
for a project to be completed.
If you want an emergency within 6 months,
all these are for emergencies.
Yes,
all these are for emergencies.
EPA.
But you do agree with your experiences in Parliament that for all these agreements, it takes some time for the project to take off. Because you may need.
When we approve, it goes back to the Minister of Power. If there is the need for a letter of credit, then the Minister of Finance comes in. And if it needs a letter of credit, that is where it might delay. The moment the letter of credit is issued, then a timetable is agreed on, and once it is emergency, it will be delivered. And as the minister himself indicated, by the end of the year, the power crisis will be over. So we have admitted already that we have challenges.
Okay.
But we are doing everything to ensure that by the end of the year, the power crisis is fixed. Most of the indicators will be.
Joe Wise.
Yes.
Have we been very much, well, truthful to ourselves to acknowledge that we haven't done right by ourselves? Now, I'm asking this because we've gone to the IMF and said, well, last week they said we're on a measure of austerity, and so far it's been a positive outlook as far as that is concerned in terms of how we've been able to abide by whatever principles and guidelines that we have set out in whatever agreements we have with them. Have we been truthful to admit that, yes, these are the things that we did, and so going forward we're not doing them, even in a period of austerity?
Well, I've not experienced that. People admitting exactly where we went wrong. Oh, we are in challenges.
We speculated areas that we went wrong.
Yes, speculated. Yeah. But we are not the managers of the economy. We have challenges. Where did the challenges come from? How did we end up where we are? If you can't tell your sickness, you cannot find a cure for it. First, admit where you're wrong, and then tell yourself, I'm going to get over it. You know, the challenge you have is that we appear to think that whatever it takes to make people be with you, whatever lie you can tell, get away with it. And therefore, look at budget after budget, presidential address to the parliament after one, they have always painted a positive picture. When they admit a wrong, they use the word challenges. Yes, we admit we have challenges. What are they? In which area?
Well,
is it managing in the management of the economy? Yes, but is there any problem called challenges? Each one of them are specific. They can be deciphered, opening up, and the micro pieces. But if you put 5 things together and one, there's a weak link, the whole thing is useless. So identify the weak link, strengthen it, and then you can have your thing hold together. Then you say, oh, the chain has a challenge. Which part of the chain is a challenge in? And so that's where the weakness is. I don't understand for the life of me why we're afraid to admit where we go wrong as a country. Now it's become like a competition. Oh, it's a race as to who can lie best, or
who is truthful enough.
Who is truthful enough.
Okay.
Now, even the things that are on paper, we can argue and argue and argue and try to offer explanations as to why it is not what it is on paper.
Do you doubt the efforts that have been made to make sure we get emergency power plants and try to, in the short term, resolve the difficulty? And then medium to long term, explanations that have been given to us have been the practicable solutions being sought to resolve the energy crisis. I'm asking this because the energy crisis is at the center of all the difficulties we're facing, whether with the currency or the economy.
I agree, but the energy crisis has not come about because there's no energy. It came about because there's no money to fuel the plants we have. We have enough plants even today. If we have money to keep them working,
store capacity.
Right. If we have money to keep them working, either regular maintenance and fuel, we shouldn't have that problem. What we're doing is going to go for a ship, which is like a big generating plant built on a ship with pylons I have photographs of that on my phone. And there's that. Now they say, pay down $50 million and we'll bring a movie to your country. When it comes, that is not the end. It has to be powered. The fuel will be paid for. So the challenge will not go away only because you have brought a plant. Because we have enough plants here. We have enough installed capacity in excess of our...
Yeah, that's why we keep hearing. They say if you have enough, it means you have installed capacity.
That's right. So what is missing is keeping them all working at the same time so that we have enough generated.
Otherwise, I would assume you don't have enough knowledge. He's on the committee.
Let him tell us.
Tell us.
Let me first of all say, he indicated like the car power. The car power is a separate, when it comes to fueling, it's a separate issue.
What does it use?
And
water?
that brought in GMPC. I'm okay. That brought in GMPC. In that power purchasing agreement, the car power entered into a commercial agreement with any other company for the provision of fuel. So it's not like it is the onus lie on
By the end of the day, it's factored in the pricing mix. So the consumer ultimately will bear.
No, but at the end of the day,
I think that was what he wants to
at the end of the day, the kilowatt.
It's still expensive. We'll still have to pay
per
for
hour.
The
kilowatt per hour is about 14 cents per kilowatt hour, which is far below what other IPPs are charging. So averagely, it's within a range, and that range is okay. So if it was different, whereby it goes to about 31 cents per kilowatt hour when an emergency power plant was brought in 2007, that would have been far beyond the range. Normally, PURC would make sure it falls within a range. But let's go into this. Akosombo is supposed to generate 1,020 megawatts. As we said, it generates 500 megawatts.
Because?
Because hydrology, no rains. Oh. There is nothing we can do as we see today to make sure it generates the...
So we have the installed capacity for Akosombo, for example, hydro.
It's 120 megawatts.
We can't power the plants.
We can't.
Because the water level is low. The speed of the water is too slow.
And now about three turbines are working. We have PON. That is supposed to generate about 160 megawatts. Once the water level is low at Akosombo, it will affect it. Currently, it's generating below 100. There is nothing we can do about it. Then we have coming in. It is a picking plant. But they required, as at the day before yesterday, it was generating about 200 megawatts. Meanwhile, the installed capacity is about 400 megawatts. These are things we cannot run away from.
What about the Tico, the Taco?
When you come to the thermal, there are challenges in respect of aging. And that is why we need to do a lot of technical audits. Because of the swap, fuel, gas, then within a matter of 2-3 months, it needs, and the age, it needs to go through servicing.
We created it. If we're using fuel, we would have used fuel. If we're using gas, we would have used gas.
You see, we rely on...
Doesn't it bother on money?
We rely, when it is old age comes in and the swapping comes in. We entered into the agreement with Nigeria to supply us 120 million standard cubic feet of gas. As at the day before yesterday, they were providing 43 million standard cubic feet.
Why?
They don't have the gas to give us.
It's not because we're defaulting in payment in
No.
Sure.
The point is that they don't have the gas.
Not because of payment issues?
No.
Okay. You can assure us
We
that.
can have problem with payment, but that does not affect the volume they will
So ultimately, it's affecting the inflows to...
it will affect. If the plant is old, like Abuazi thermal plant, which are almost 50 years and above, it needs regular maintenance. And therefore, the regular maintenance will affect the total output. So these are some of the critical...
So your car power, when it comes, how does it operate then? Where would they get fuel or gas?
That is what I'm saying is that... that is what I'm saying that...
They will
enter into a commercial agreement with GMPC. They have. So that GMPC provide them fuel. Now, GMPC will see it as a business.
Well, good.
Because
so why doesn't GMPC, if you use the same analogy, provide fuel for what we have?
Because this is an agreement whereby the IPP says, okay, you want me to provide a guaranteed this percentage of performance I'm okay. And therefore, I don't want to rely on anybody to provide me fuel. I want to enter into a commercial agreement with any other company that can assure me reliable supply of fuel.
Well, we've had this before, these rounds. You are very adept at it because you are part of the committee, so you're always very good at the energy issue. So churning out the answers for us. But the point is that the real implementation on the ground hasn't...
What it means is that they say, provide me fuel. Government does not have the money, so GMPC, provide the fuel.
No.
When you pay for the kilowatt hour, they pay you.
No.
It is the same thing.
It's not.
When you say commercial,
it's not.
It's about money that has to be paid to the reliability of where the funding, because they know they can't rely on government.
But GMPC
so that's how they've gone to GMPC.
That's all.
No.
I think that's my interpretation of what
he's told. Let's be very clear in this. The issue of fueling is not government that must always provide fuel. So we have a series of challenges. And that is why this time ECG is having some heavy load. If I'm an IPP, I produce at 14 cents per kilowatt hour. I've supplied to ECG. I expect that at the end of the day, ECG should be able to pay me to be able to bring in my own fuel. That is how it is.
Yes.
Not that I'm an IPP, independent power producer, I enter, government, you will be providing the fuel. No. I sell to ECG,
as they often
Gridco transmits it to ECG. ECG sells. At the end of the day, ECG pays me, then I buy my fuel and run. But at the end of the day, if I supply ECG with $1 million worth, the ECG gives me $300,000 worth. And say, okay, the others is a debt on me. So definitely,
so the IPP
cannot more go in.
So the IPP, they don't want to be in that difficult situation.
So definitely, the government see that it is a national problem. That is where
all these explanations you've given me. Now we've gone to the IMF.
Let me talk about this hydro part. When did we start having problem with power? There was no hydro challenges. Akosombo was full. Akosombo was full. The only problems we have at them was that we could not fuel maintain the other system. Let's accept that. That's the point about being truthful to ourselves. The documents we have read, the real evaluation shows this. When we accept that, the next thing is that how come we are not able to power and fuel our systems, maintain them? Good. Why don't we have money? The thing is being sold to us. Is the rate not commercial enough? Is it not commensurate to the cost of producing the power? I'm always for accept that, hey, this is where we are. The cost of sending it to you is 1 cedi. We are sending it to you at 80 pesos. That's a loss.
Okay.
If you don't have enough general tax revenue to bridge that gap, it will keep increasing. That way, we'll let
As we conclude the discussions, we've gone to the IMF, and the IMF is now giving us some positive stars, saying we're doing some good work. But what about the skepticism that perhaps
when they say
the public sector workers of Ghana, who are under the TUC, etc., seem to be very much insensitive to all the efforts that government is making?
No, rather they see government as being insensitive to ensuring that
government is making all the efforts, your wise.
And what is the effort? What the effort here? If you can read it.
Well, he's enumerated a number of them, and I know that by rhetoric I can even say some of them as to how we can get energy in the short, medium to long term. And it's been reiterated over the period.
And in the end, where's the energy? It hasn't come yet. We're seeing the effort. Wait.
Well, we don't see
because there have been so many promises, pledges. When it is over, we will acknowledge that it is over, and then we'll count our cost. But for the time being, please, the things that IMG is praising us for is one, not increasing your cost. What that means is that you keep wages at the level it is while utilities go up. You have agreed that you review petroleum prices every 2 weeks, and you are following it. So they say what they call subsidy is being removed. Those are the things. That is IMF's program. Keep costs down, increase your revenue. That's all. And if we're doing that, yes, you will be praised as being physically doing well. FISC, fiscal. But the social cost is heavy. The cost to your economy is heavy. And that's where we're looking. That's what these people are talking about. That there's no investment in the productive sector to expand job opportunities. There's no investment in the social sector to take care of the vulnerable. Just saving cost. And you and I know that at the rate of 50% increase in electricity, 15% in fuel, no, 15% in water, 17% in fuel in this month. Give yourself 6 months, no, another 6 months, there will be another review, and you stay at the same income level. How are you going to survive? How? Now, at the current rate of my salary, I go to the constituency twice a month, and that two in and out a month would take about half of my salary. Half of that for just transport.
Because, okay. What about the
drive in and back? Every other thing. No, morning from here to work, morning doesn't come in.
What about your expenditure you go and make?
Over there, it's not coming. So by the time you go,
because I know you MPs, you make a lot of expenditure.
That's right.
The demands are
extremely high.
I give you a minute, sir.
Yeah,
sorry, I give him 5 minutes. I give you a minute.
Yeah. You see,
it may not be fair, but
while government, as I said, this falls within the envelope of government. Government knows and working towards this. We must bear in mind that government is, I indicated, making sure that certain provisions are made to take care of the vulnerable. And that is why it is providing a lot of metro masses, about 295 already in. If we have the public transport, most of the vulnerable will use it. Except you decide that I will not go by public transport. And that means that it is up to your own peril. If I decide to use my car, I go to buy. Let me tell you, we are producing oil around 100,000 barrels a day. Nigeria produces about 200,000. You realize 2 million barrels. 2 million barrels.
Actually 2.5 million.
Yeah, about 2 million barrels. Yeah. Last month, they scrapped subsidies. Yeah. And you know, the petroleum industry was in huge trouble.
There are shortages.
Because there were shortages. Do we say, okay, we'll absorb it? They won't provide, will provide subsidies. Then our importers say, okay, government hasn't paid us, and therefore we are not going to supply. The amount you buy today, you buy twice. So government wants to make sure that while it is providing for the vulnerable in terms of public transport, it wants to ensure that we pay for those of us in who use our personal car, we pay realistically to ensure that the black market of fuel do not come in. And that will save us better than if we say, okay, we'll provide subsidies. Egypt scrapped subsidies. So we must know that government, knowing very well that this will have impact on the vulnerable, is making cushioning to ensure that we cushion them. Two, the problems we face were outlined clearly. One was on wages. The president indicated because of the single spine salary, as of 2012, it will consume about 70%.
That was not true. It's been proved not to be true. Two, the minister himself said 51%.
He wants to raise it.
Wait, I'm coming. As we speak, it's about 51%. Because as at that time...
51% of domestic revenue?
Yes. Goes. Meanwhile, it's supposed to be 35%. So since then, it has been declining. And it has been declining.
Okay, because of the austerity measures.
Yeah. Two, the government indicated going to fight to make sure that ghost names are clean. And they're working on it. And as indicated, the IMF indicated that we're working very well in respect of wage bill. Because if we say about 600,000 people are employed in Ghana and they consume, let's say, 51% of whatever we raise, there is the need for concern. There is the need for concern. So government, while working to ensure that we follow a path to recovery fully, we will take some bitter pills. Just like when you fall sick, there might be some medicine that will be bitter, but for you to be able to recover, you have to take it.
Okay. Now your point has been made. The U.S. Supreme Court made a ruling. I know this is not part of what I know something that the gay ruling in the U.S. by the Supreme Court. I give you 2 minutes. What's your mind on that? Because now we've had whole churches organizing services and condemning there, but also preaching sermons that will ensure that well, we don't also have a same change of mindset one day.
Well, I'm a Catholic, full-blooded Catholic, and I believe in the theology of the Catholic Church. Marriage is between man and woman. I've never accepted gayism. I will never accept them. And I know and I pray that it will not happen in Ghana in my lifetime. What I want Ghanaians to accept is that their cultures differ. That's what Americans want. That is what they want. That's what the laws provide. In Ghana, our culture is different. The way we perceive one another, it's different. There are a few aberrations. Those people, like those of us in the Catholic Church say, those people are not to be killed. They are to be prayed for, to be counseled out.
Well, the Americans are supposed to be prayed for then.
That they don't believe that. They believe that those people should be permitted to, their aberrations should be recognized as part of human life. That's fine with them. My Ghana laws does not permit that, and I hope and I pray and I will ensure in my lifetime within my power, the little that I have, that Ghana's law does not ever recognize that. You know, that those in that category, we will keep praying for them. We will keep helping get out of that sick mentality so they become real human beings. And there's a quote which I like, that even the Satan was not gay. Because he went to the naked Eve rather than the naked Adam.
Attributed to the president of
Mugabe.
Zimbabwe. Mugabe. But even just the last week, well, before the close of the weekend, we had even stories emerging about even a Muslim cleric in the U.S. who is the first Muslim gay cleric, so to speak. And we know Islam abhors gayism or homosexuality.
Thank you very much. As my brother indicated, whatever, even if a legislation comes to Parliament, whatever we'll do to resist it, we'll resist it. Gayism, Jame said his goats, cattle, they are not gay. He has never seen a gay cattle, a gay frog. Those who involved in gay, everybody agree they are sick. And when somebody is sick, he needs treatment.
There are now scientific papers that have been published by renowned medical doctors claiming that people are biologically born.
Their opinion.
Their opinion.
Well,
yes.
Their publications are the same.
We will never agree to gayism to be legalized in Ghana once it is a legislation that will come. I know, and I know there will be pressure on African countries from the developed countries because we go to them to look for some few things. And it happened during President Mill's time when Britain were putting pressure on Ghana in respect of this gayism. And the late president came out categorically that he will never allow it. And it will never be allowed in Ghana. If there are laws that must be passed to legalize it, as far as I'm...
Well, Joe Wise says not in his lifetime. I guess you also say not in your lifetime.
Make sure, whether in Parliament or out of Parliament.
We now say the world is a global village, so whatever is happening somewhere, always you get to know.
So why don't I get up and go to any country I like?
Now
why am I required to get a visa?
Now, for those of us who have different names but are siblings with others out there, we can just go and claim that we are going to marry them and take you as visas and things like that. I'm just on the side, though.
I hope nobody takes advantage of that.
Right, really. And, well, we have had in the studio Joe Wise. Joe Osewusu is a member of Parliament for Bekwai. He won his primary safely, so he's safe. That place is a safe seat for the MPP. So
we are taking over.
He's in the next. He's as far as my research that I have undertaken for a number of elections, he's in the next Parliament. That is from 2017 to 2020.
We are giving them a
That's
shock.
it, right?
Yeah. We are going for 1 million votes. And 300, how many votes do you have?
1 million votes.
The difference between my vote and your party vote is 40,000.
40.
All right.
40.
And he hasn't gone through his primary. Don't mind him. He hasn't gone through his primary yet. From October, the
2/3 of the votes.
From October, the nominations will be open. So the NDC's intentions will be known as far as those who want to contest those primaries. And Member of Parliament for Damango is Adam Muta. Adam Mutawakilu. Thanks for joining me, sir.
Thank you.
And that way it for the show, but we